Hello everyone and welcome to my Night of the Dead review. Alright, so let's get right into the description of the game, which is not much. Build defenses against nightly waves of zombies, survive, and escape the island. That is the whole description. 2 sentences. So it's basically what I would call this game is basically like 7 Days to Die, except for not as complicated and not as much of a survival game as 7 Days to Die, more of a defense game, because you're going to be going around and collecting materials, collecting resources, and crafting like every other survival game, but you're not going to really have to worry about food or, that much of surviving, sleep, or nothing like that. You're basically going to be building a base with a bunch of defenses, kind of like a like a maze or something, or some sort of base where you can funnel zombies into a certain area with a bunch of traps and just kind of kill all the zombies, and that's basically the game. Alright, so the gameplay is kind of like a survival game in the sense that you have to explore this open world and gather resources, craft things, and try to survive against a bunch of zombies and stuff. But at nighttime, every single night, a wave of zombies, which I assume gets bigger each night. I haven't really noticed because the waves that I've been getting have not been that huge. I kind of wish the waves would be bigger, but you get a wave of zombies, and wherever you are, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be standing on the top of a skyscraper, even though you can't get on a skyscraper, but you could be standing anywhere and they will go directly for you. So you gotta make sure that you place yourself somewhere in your base where your traps are, so the zombies will kind of funnel themselves into the traps, and that's where it kind of becomes a tower defense game. So you start with a knife, and you're going to be cutting bushes, picking up rocks, breaking stuff like boxes, barrels, and cars, breaking down that stuff to get materials to craft some better stuff, chopping down trees to get some logs to make some wooden walls, foundations, and spikes and other stuff like that, while trying to sneak into some buildings maybe and get some extra resources. You kind of have to stay away from large groups of zombies, at least at first, because the combat is not very good. You just kind of swing your weapon just randomly, and sometimes your weapon will kind of clip right through the zombie and not count as a hit. So the combat's a little janky, the animations are a little janky, but you're not really gonna be getting into much combat because you're gonna be taking a lot of damage and you're probably gonna die. So you're gonna wait until you get like some sort of gun or bow or something before you really start trying to kill some zombies and go into the buildings. But once you get into the buildings, there's gonna be some good loot there to find. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm just gonna say some of the best loot in this game it is in some of these buildings. But there's also a lot of zombies, so it's kind of like a high risk, high reward kind of situation when you're entering some of these bigger buildings. So killing zombies with like a hammer, a sword, axe, just whatever you're using, a knife, doesn't really feel that good. Shooting zombies feels alright, but not too satisfying. It could be improved a bit more, shooting. I would like a first person camera in this game too. I mean, it doesn't really matter because third person is just fine, but I don't know, sometimes I just want to switch between third person and first person, especially when I'm inside some of these smaller cramped buildings. I would kind of like to be in first person. So a big part of this game is crafting and making traps. Basically, it's basically building a base with lots of traps. Now you can either find a location, build up that location, or you can make your own completely from scratch base, which is also cool. I recommend doing maybe both, pick a place for like the first couple nights just to get some stuff going while you're trying to build a bigger base, and once you build that bigger, cooler base, then move over to that. So to be able to craft things too, you're gonna have to make a bunch of different kind of stations, like crafting stations and research stations and material stations. And resource stations, you get resource points for, or resource material, I don't really know what it is, it's just called research material, and it's going to be in your inventory. You will drop it if you die though, so be careful about that. But you use that at the research station to research things and unlock new things to craft and cooler things to craft. And then once you do that, you'll have to craft a bunch of new things, the materials, and you have to make materials into other materials, and it's just a lot to do. And building traps and your base and stuff, building like a little maze or like a funnel or just some sort of trap, you know, that you set up. It's kind of like Home Alone but with zombies. You know, you just set up your traps any way that you want, try out different builds. The traps do cost a lot of resources, so at first you don't want to be wasting those, but you know, try a bunch of different builds and see which one works the best. Just be careful with the flamethrowers, because there is fire that, like, fire effects or fire spread, I'm not really sure what you want to call it. It's just fireworks like it does in real life. So if you have a wooden base and you place a flamethrower in that base and it starts shooting flames everywhere, well, you just set your base on fire, and you're probably going to want to get out of there because no firefighters are going to come put that out. So your base is probably going to be set ablaze, and if you're staying there, you're probably going to be set ablaze. The zombies will, everything will burn to the ground. There's also animals that you can hunt in this game. There's foxes, rabbits, bears, and I think deer. I think I seen a deer. There is wolves too, so you can hunt down all those animals and you can place traps for those animals and collect their skin and their meat. Alright, so let's move on to the graphics. As you can see in the background, the graphics are good. Okay, the graphics are good, they're decent, and I think that's mostly because of the Unreal Engine, but it in my opinion, it does look like a good, graphics wise, it does look good. And that is if you are on the highest settings. I don't know what this game looks like on the lowest settings. Now, this is kind of a new section for me, but I only include this in this review because early access survival games tend to have this problem, but this game doesn't. This game is optimized, okay? I can get 60 plus frames on this game, unlike some other early access survival games. So at least I can say that this game is well optimized and you're not going to be having too many low frames. The frame rate might drop, you know, sometimes once in a while, but it should stay at around 60 frames most of the time, if you, of course, if you have the recommended specs for the game. Sound design, so definitely the game can improve on its sound design. Some sound effects just sound a little just bland, boring, or just not that good. And music wise, I don't even think there's music in this game, and if there is, I don't remember there being it, so I guess the music doesn't do much for the game. And since this game is in early access, I'm going to do this category, fixes and features, where I'm just going to talk about some things I think could be fixed, or you know, some new features or just improvements. And I think the animations do need a little improvement. They're decent, they're okay, but they could be a lot better. I think the zombies need more like limbs, like more breakable limbs, so like when they walk into your traps, they can lose their legs, their arms, their heads, their like get cut in half. They can lose their heads, but I think that's it. Never once has a zombie walked into my trap and like lost a leg or an arm or something. And crushers actually do like crush the zombies and turn them into like a red mist, so that's also cool. I know this game's mostly focused on like traps and building your base and stuff, but I would like some more weapons and customizable guns, and I guess for the combat to not be so janky. Recommendation. Now, would I recommend that you go out and play this game? Yes, I do. It's pretty fun, and I just played by myself, so of course, like every other game, if you have friends, if you have a group of people to play with, then I would definitely recommend playing this game with a friend or a group of people, because I don't think there's multiplayer support right now. I could be wrong, but I do know that they're adding dedicated servers and stuff like that. So I assume that there is going to be, you know, big multiplayer PvP and PvE servers, and there is PvP stuff. So now this game is $25, so if that seems like a lot for an early access survival game that is not finished, you're kind of right. So you can wait until the game's on sale, but I'm sure that this game, I don't know, it seems like it has a lot of potential, and I don't want to just sell a game on potential, because that could be so many games. You know, you could be like, well, this game has potential, go out and get it. But this game is made by 2 people, and I think right now what it has is fun. Anyways, that's all I got to say for this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment below, tell me what you guys think about this game and this video, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because you want to be subscribed, and I will see you guys next time.